The other factors which are required for providing retention in dentures are atmospheric pressure, uh, which is gained with the help of a step called as border molding. Border molding is nothing but a clinical step which is done before secondary impression making, and it is also called as muscle trimming or peripheral tracing. It is done with the help of low fusing compound to record the exact depth and width of vestibular sulcus. With this we get a perfect seal which aids in retention of the prosthesis. Stephen's law. As per Stephen's law, for two parallel circular plates of radius r that are separated by a Newtonian or incompressible liquid of viscosity k and thickness h, the force F which is necessary to pull the plates apart at a velocity v in a perpendicular direction to the radius is determined with the below mentioned formula. Interfacial force is nothing but an optimal adaptation which is obtained by with the help of maximizing the maximum denture bearing area, and when there is increase in viscosity of the medium, it helps in retention of the prosthesis. So when there is enhanced ionic force, there is an increased retention of the prosthesis with the help of adhesion and cohesion. Apart from that, the other factors that are responsible for retention are the anatomic factors. When the residual alveolar ridge height is more, the retention is also more. On the other side, when there is extreme amount of resorption, the retention of the prosthesis is also less, as there is less amount of ridge height. Retention is also determined by physiologic factors like viscosity of the saliva. Now, under viscosity of the saliva, it is important for the saliva to be either mixed or serous instead of being thick or mucus, because mucus saliva increases the hydrostatic pressure and tends to displace the prosthesis. Retention can also be increased by means of mechanical factors such as an anatomic undercut, or with the help of implant supported overdentures, or with the help of denture adhesives, which are nothing but biocompatible chemicals which are used for increasing retention. And this picture which shows suction cup is no more used nowadays because of the development of inflammatory papillary hyperplasia, but in previous years it was used as one of the mechanical modes of retention. Apart from that, we have denture adhesives, as I told you in the previous slide. These are nothing but synthetic materials which are a mixture of salts of short acting carboxymethyl cellulose and long acting polyvinyl methyl ether malleate, which uses scantrus as the polymers for enhancing the retention of the prosthesis. Retention of the prosthesis can also be obtained with the help of a stable muscular forces which is balanced both on the labial and lingual side. Stability is the quality of a prosthesis that aids in firm, steady or constant to resist the displacement by functional stresses and not to subject the change of position when forces are applied. Now, these are the factors which are enlisted that show you the factors which enable the stability of the prosthesis. So, whenever there is a large denture bearing area in the form of a U shaped or a square shaped arch form or ridge form, the amount of stability that is going to be rendered to the denture is more. On the other hand, if you see in this illustration, the ridge is in the form of a V shaped and there is less amount of stability of the prosthesis. Stability is also enhanced by placing the teeth correctly on the crest of the ridge. It should be neither too buccally out nor too lingually inclined inside, because that can displace the prosthesis. And it is important to obtain a correct occlusal plane and arrange the teeth in the perfect occlusal plane which was obtained, because any alteration in occlusal plane can provide an inclined plane effect and displace the denture. Support is the third factor which is important, and it is the resistance to vertical forces of mastication, occlusal forces or other forces which are applied in direction towards the denture bearing area, and it is essentially obtained with the help of the underlying residual tissues. Now, this can be further substantiated with the help of a snowshoe effect, which says that broader the coverage, better is the support which is going to be provided by the underlying tissues. So whenever there is more surface area, the amount of support is more, and the denture retention is also going to be more. So that is why maxillary have more support than the mandibular. Now moving on to the final step, the steps which are involved in the fabrication of the clinical complete dentures are: clinical side, you have primary impression making, secondary impression making, recording of jaw relation, and try-in of the dentures, then denture placement and post insertion review. In the laboratory procedures, we have making of primary cast, fabrication of special tray, making the master cast, followed by denture base fabrication, occlusal rim making, and then after jaw relations are recorded, we proceed with articulation, teeth arrangement. Once the try-in is done, we proceed with the wax up of trial denture, do the flasking or investing, and try to remove the wax from the to create a mold for packing of the resin. We do packing, curing, finishing, polishing, and finally lab mounting to ensure that there are no